Check one, check two.
Yeah, because what I've seen just as observation is that people tend to stop at their own, and I get it. They'll stop at their own personal. They'll stop at their own personal peace, and or their own personal. And I see it all the time. But it's like, okay, I get that. But then there's a part of me that like says, okay, that personal piece, I get it. You carve that out. But then there's also an external reality, and that external reality, you can't control it per se, but it does have influence. Whether it's what you're paying for bread, or what you're paying for rent, or what your kids are being taught, or all of these things that influence factors that we can't control. Because even if if our bubble or our force field is very strong, we're still interacting with the world. We're still going out there. We're still going out there. And I feel that we miss an opportunity because, and I'm not saying anybody specific, I'm just saying in general, because for the people that I feel have the level of awareness, they 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 lose the, it's almost like they lose the motivation, or it's like they don't see the benefit
Continue.
of continuing and it's getting out of their comfort zone in a sense. Because yeah, you can create this bubble. I could create this bubble. I can create a bubble and insulate myself against the outside world. I can easily do that. But the reason why I don't do that is because I care for people that may not have that insulated bubble that are out there in the world, or I don't know. I just feel we can do a lot more than just insulate ourselves in, especially for those that are trying to get this information, and we're spreading it out and saying things in certain ways. Um, but I see many examples of people, and I don't pay attention to the news and stuff like that because I know there's a lot of predictive programming. There's a lot of, but there are real things happening. Like there are real things happening out there, right? That we can influence and we can potentially change, but it won't happen if we don't get out there and interact with that part of it that may not be within our personal bubble. But that's the world that we live in. I mean, we're interacting with each other, and I feel like there are people, like we're all in the same frying pan and the temperature's going up, and we can shake it how we want to shake it how we want. But from my perspective, that's what's happening. And even the person that I feel that is able to force field himself into a reality. You can have a homeless person that just doesn't care about the external world. That doesn't mean the external world isn't doing what it's doing, right? And influencing the reality around that person, and that external world could potentially impede that individual's, even that bubble, right? Because we are in a physical reality. So, I mean, we're in a physical reality, so things can happen physically, right? So even that individual that has that bubble, if the reality crushes in on you and falls in on you, then I don't know if you'll be able to get out of that. And I feel the reality that we're seeing is applying pressure in a lot of different ways. And those of us that are able to see and are able to articulate things and can't take the action aren't, because they found a level of peace and they're just okay in their little zone, but are not really shaking things up like I feel things could be shaken up. Moves are being made by those that want to control. I don't see the moves being made by those that want to liberate on the same level. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, we had a discussion about, two of our friends about, when we were in New Orleans, and I just was shaking my head going, well, I don't understand how that doesn't just floor your world about some things that were said. And I said, and then it hit me, what you just said, they stopped. I thought everyone would want a truth, but they didn't. They stopped at peace. And there are certain people who will not stop at peace. There are certain people, and I'm one of them. I mean, I lived the last 2 years in whatever the hell bubble that was in, that I was like, man, I must be ascending or something. I mean, I got it all. I didn't do shit for it. Like shit just started falling my way, and all I did was, float on my back. And so, but I also have to compartmentalize that as well too, because in my bubble, where is that going to get me? Like if I, in 30 years from now I have nothing, say, a lot of stuff goes south for me, and I have nothing. I don't have relationships with my spouse. I don't have it with my kids. I mean, what if I have nothing in 30 years? What would I give? Often I think about this. What would I give to be in the same spot that I'm in now? So I'm appreciative of the things that I not only aspire for, that I have possibilities to achieve, but also what I actually have, what I'm grateful for. And along those lines, what is it that would motivate me to make the world 30 years from now that I really want to be in? It wouldn't be sitting on my back doing the backstroke. So right. I realize that some of these uncomfortable things are uncomfortable because they have to get me to a certain place, and maybe it won't get me to a certain place. But if I had a crystal ball and I knew what was going to happen in 30 years, and laying on my back is going to get me where I want to go, then I'm gonna need a little nudge. And that's what I mean by parameters. I think that we all live in these parameters where we talked about it, about an hour ago, and I said, I don't know that my theories of manifesting and making things happen in my reality, I haven't hit that point, and I'm not ready to cry uncle yet, cry for help. Maybe I will, at some point in time. But if I want to control my reality, I'm doing the observations, I'm doing the research in real time to say what I'm trying to influence and how I'm doing it. I may not be, putting on a podcast all the time doing it, but I for one don't want to struggle so much that I suffer to have to grow. That's the whole point of the soul crap theory is why would we have to suffer so much just for growth? But I'm saying that there are levels of parameters that I'm not willing to say I don't want to suffer to that level. But there's a gray area, there's a gray area above the line that goes, but if I'm not in this zone, I'm not being the most productive for my higher self want me to be, and in 30 years, maybe I'm not physically able to do the things that I could do right now. So hey, let's get going. Let's get moving. Don't have any regrets about what this time shakes out. And so for me to get there, I'm just like, man, it's another grinding day, and I'm not making $1. I'm not making nothing. I'm losing money. But at some point in time, you have to go, okay, I accept this challenge. I'm not going to be a victim of my own reality. I'm a creator, and if I'm being honest with myself and what my belief system is, I am here to create. I mean, I have a book in the garage that I wrote around. It was like a little notebook that I wrote for schools about notes. And on the first page, and all the entire book is open. It's a little notebook journal. The entire book is open. It says bright ideas on the front. You know what I wrote on the first page? What do I believe, and how much do I believe in it? And so if you can't live by what you believe in, what the fuck are we doing here? What am I talking about if that's the case? So what do I believe? I have to start there. Well, I believe that I can create my own reality. I believe that, yes, I will get lazy and float back, on my back downstream sometimes. But in the end, if I believe that this is happening for a reason and that I want to be sovereign over my emotions of this construct, then get my ass to work and let's make it happen. There's no time for regrets right now. I regret a year ago when I had X amount of money in the bank in whatever situation I had, but I don't regret the situation that I'm in now, because that's only going to lead me to be in a situation where I'm not emotionally stable.
Right.
So, I'm healthy, I'm happy. I'm not satisfied, and I'm not at peace, but I don't want to be at peace. I was in peace for the last 2 years. It's time to go. It's time to make things happen for me to say, good job. When I got kicked a little bit, or I sat down, maybe I didn't get kicked, but I sat down myself, I had to stand up. And that's what I want my kids to understand. I want people who are watching this to understand is that, listen, if you can look back and talk to yourself at this time, at this particular moment in time, what do you have going for you? What can you change? What do you want to make happen for yourself? Why can't you do it? Go do it. What's the problem? Are you not healthy enough? Then step by step needs to be what those things are. What are your key bullet points to make you have what you need to make it happen? So that when you look back upon this moment in 30 years, in the present time right now, from 30 years from now to now, that you're like, man, I if I didn't embrace that shit, I don't know where I would be. And that's the point. That's the point. Every day you got to wake up and you got to say that.
Yeah.
So what do I believe and how much do I believe it? And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you said peace, I was just thinking how you can take that peace that you have and you can still, like, I don't think that you have to disregard your peace to affect the external world. You can still keep your peace, still keep your bubble, and still move
You gotta
out
stay
there.
motivated.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
gotta stay inspired, stay motivated.
because if your bubble is truly secure and your firewall is intact, then you should be able to go wherever, right? And be okay. Like, because is your peace really real peace if it only applies at a certain location or at a certain point? Or, you know,
Or
am I
at a
peaceful
certain
only
level.
when I'm meditating in the Himalayas? I can't be peaceful when I'm at work, you know, in real reality, right? So I think some people like that the isolation is good. I get that. I've isolated myself at times too to regroup and stuff, but I don't think we're supposed to stay there. I think after you get some type of clarity, or if you have the heart to help, that to you know, get out there. But sometimes you got to get your own armor up before you can get out there and do what needs to be done.
Yeah, you do, for sure. And I think you need to make sure that you understand yourself enough to recenter yourself when you get knocked out of whack, you know, when you need things, you know, to make you who you want to be. I mean, so I wrote this a couple days ago. It was the chi symbol that I had. It was one of the first things that came to me when I was waking up, is, you know, the yin and the yang, the darkness, the light. And I posted and I said, you know, what do we do when we get knocked out of our desired state of being? Life is tough. How do we recenter our focus and desired intentions when reality intervenes? So, I mean, it's something we're just talking about right here, you know, and you have to recognize that you're getting knocked out a little bit, and then you have to go, okay, I accept the challenge, or you can go lay in your bed till you're ready to do it. But at some point in time, you're going to do it. Like, that's the parameter breach. I don't want to have the parameter to say, I need help. I want to surrender to this. I need to do X, Y, and Z. I'll take the help, but like, I want to make it happen myself, not have somebody give me a handout, I guess, or myself give myself a handout, or whatever that might be.
Gotcha.
I don't want to waste days, basically. I don't want to waste time. You know, I don't want to waste time moping around, you know, when I could be, you know, building something.
Yeah.
Or experiencing life. Maybe not building anything. Maybe just experiencing it.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people complain about the situation, and there's not much benefit. In problem solving. So you want to understand the current situation. So if you're complaining, is gathering data on the situation, like, hey, this is bad. Okay, maybe that's not a complaint. Maybe that's data. It is bad. All righty. And then, okay, what are we going to do about it? But if you can just continuing to complain without taking any action, then that's not no benefit. That's
it's hurting yourself.
Energy.
Yeah. And it's putting, for lack of a better term, putting bad energy out there. And people see that, and people can feel that now. I think more than ever, they can feel the negative energy, and they don't want to be around it. I don't want to be around it, you know?
Right.
Yeah. I try not to be as negatively as I have been before, but, you know, maybe I was collecting data to see what my surroundings were, you know. I don't know. I have a number of instances from college that I remember, and they've all led me to this situation here. And I remember that I was in those situations while I was in the moment. I was conscious of situations, whether it be, you know, just saying, it doesn't matter what I do, it's gonna turn out correctly, by not buying books for a semester and saying, you know, I'm gonna pass this regardless. And it was just having faith, and having that faith that I was correct, in understanding the situation, that no matter what I did, I had faith I was gonna get through it. So now I'm out of the faith stage. I don't have to believe anything.
So you know,
I think ascension. There you go. And ascension is, the more I've seen about that lately, is you know, self ascension is less about faith and more about knowledge. And that's what we're here to do. That's what I'm here to do right now. I'm here to gain knowledge, whether it's talking to people like yourself or whether it's just sitting, just sitting there. I don't know if you've ever seen this thing. I posted it also. I didn't post my thoughts on it yet, but have you looked into the Gateway tapes?
I've heard about them, the Gateway Experience or whatever, or I've heard about it, but I haven't looked in detail. No.
Yeah, so it is trying to sync up your hemispheres. It's a CIA experiment that's documented and by Robert Monroe. He wrote some books as well, but the Monroe Institute is basically that. And like the first day I did it, I was like, nah, I don't know about this. There's a little bit of chanting. It's a little bit of vibration, and it seemed a little dark. It seemed a little. You have to actually. I think one of the parts of the first thing is you basically say, I am going to basically surrender to whatever comes my way. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I'm not doing that. But after I did it the first night, the second day, I actually solved I solved one of my life questions, which I never thought I would ever understand. Right. So I remember one of my pre-birth memories was sitting in space and looking at this place that I'm in now, like looking at the Earth. And I'm like, I don't know if it's a globe or flat or whatever, but I pictured it as it was a globe or a construct, right? And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, there's nothing. Like the void. There's nothing here. I couldn't explain it to my mom. I was, I kept saying, I don't know where this came from, but why do I keep thinking that I'm sitting in like a situation where nothing exists, and after death there's nothing, and after this there's nothing. It's one of the things I think about a lot, about what that means or what it was, or if it's a real memory. Obviously, you doubt yourself a little bit sometimes. But after this experience, I started to realize that if time is not linear, then what you're talking about is manifestation of thought. So basically, I was looking at what I was about to do, and I was sitting there going, "It's a blank slate for me to do this." And the realization that I had with that, of this was a thought, this was a point in time right now that I'm perceiving, and I just went from boom to boom, and I was able to basically tell myself without saying any words that is what is, I guess, would be considered the perspective observer effect, or whatever you would call it, about, like almost like the Tesseract scene in Interstellar, when he went from, he was there in the room, but then he's in the wall, and then he's still in the room, but he's going back and forth. And I'm like, that it makes sense. Like, I started at a level, I could be here and I could be here same time. I could be at both spots at the same time. Like that made sense. And I was like, I'm not sure where the hell that came from, but by the grace of whatever that was, I understood it. And I can't articulate it necessarily as well as I felt. It was almost like deja vu. How do you explain deja vu? Like
right.
I've heard deja vu is Anthony Pick talks about, maybe deja vu is reliving the same moment in a fork in the road, or you've seen the same experience, or you feel the same thing. For me, deja vu is more along the lines of a feeling than it is a memory. It's a feeling of like recognition of a moment. And for me, it's never been, I've never had deja vu. Maybe you could answer this too. I've never had deja vu where I felt like I was myself. I've always felt like I was outside of my body preceding me. And when we were in New Orleans, when me, you, and Marlon, and I think it was, I don't know if Larry was back there or not, but me, you, and Marlon were talking, and I was talking, and I had deja vu for like 20 seconds straight. But I was talking the whole time, and I was perceiving myself talking from like basically outside of my body, and I couldn't stop. I was actually having a thought, and I'm like, I got deja vu, but it wasn't a deja vu of I've been here before. It was deja vu was like me being outside of my body, watching myself having a conversation, and my subconscious was talking. And I was like, what the fuck is going, like the deja vu was something like, it was a feeling of something similar, but it wasn't of me saying that in that situation before many times.
It wasn't like you remembered.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me having a thought in my body or a feeling in my body of me being there doing the same thing. So I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but my deja vu, as thinking back upon it, is similar to that. It's like I'm watching myself not be myself, but I'm watching what I'm doing and thinking. They're my thoughts, but it's like I'm on autoplay or something, and I just jump out for like a second, and I'm like, hey, check this out, and then I'm like, what the fuck was that?
That's interesting. Now I've had deja vu once, and it was in Chicago in a restaurant I'd never been in, and then it was like it just felt real familiar in a way that was unfamiliar. So I was like, oh well, I just attributed that must be what deja vu is, because and that was years and years ago, and I wasn't even interested in the things I'm interested in now. But the experience you said that's something. I think that's something different, man. When you were listening to yourself, kind of observing yourself talk.
I was like, I was just rambling, but I mean, they were thoughts that I was thinking, and then all of a sudden, like something just like took over. Like as I'm talking now, I'm just keep talking and talking and talking, and all of a sudden, like I was watching myself, and I'm like, wait a minute, like I'm not thinking about what I'm saying, I'm just saying it, and then I realized, well, who the fuck was saying it if I wasn't thinking it?
That's interesting. Yeah. That kind of that happened to me in the with the Everglades thing. That kind of reminds me of that, to where it was it's like almost like an out of body experience, right? Where you were
well, but see, here's the cool thing about that. See, that's where my revelation that I just explained showed me. It's like it's an out of body experience, because what we are perceiving, what are we saying right now? What I'm looking at the screen, what I'm talking to you right now this is me perceiving this. Out of body experiences is, in my opinion, the same thing, but it's from another perspective. It's from outside of your body. You're perceiving, but your perception is not from your body, right? So it's like, you're perceiving something that is, you would say it's an out of body experience, but you're not out of body. You're in both.
Right.
So what you're perceiving is that you are in two perceptions at the same time.
Yeah. You're perceiving your higher consciousness, awareness, or
because you're perceiving more awareness than what you can comprehend.
Because your field extends beyond your physical avatar, right? So
I was listening to the Anthony Peake Cheating the Ferryman book, and what's crazy is like you start hearing things that punch holes in some of your subconscious stuff, and I remembered, I was like, holy shit. Like, I remember when I had my appendix taken out, I woke up in the middle of the surgery and they put the mask over my face, and I'm like, holy fuck, how did I not remember that? Like, till now. And I'm like, but when did I really remember that? Like, I know it happened for sure. I know that I woke up, and I'm like, damn, I remember they were talking, but it wasn't from this. It was from like watching me wake up and then going, and then the nurse going, hold on, he's awake, he's awake. Hold on, give him the mask again. And I was like, damn, that's fucking crazy. That is. So like you're saying, like it's a field of awareness that you're perceiving. You're not only perceiving outside, you're also perceiving it from different directions. And that's what I was saying about the outer space thing, is that I'm perceiving things through different awarenesses that I can't even comprehend and put them into words. They're just feelings.
Right.
But a feeling has a whole freaking story.
Yeah. Shoot, you could have a lot you can get a whole packet of information, data, and you can unpack a whole lot in just a small moment, a feeling or an experience or an idea, all that. So